Hello Mystery Blanket Club knitters, and welcome to the very first instalment of the 2023 Mystery Blanket Club. I started the Mystery Blanket Club way back in 2008, so this is the 16th Mystery Blanket adventure since I began all those years ago, and I am absolutely thrilled to bits that you have decided to join me this year. Now, every year we have members sign up from all over the world, and this year we have lots of familiar faces. Some members have been knitting mystery blankets since the very beginning in 2008. But we also have lots of new members too on board this year. So I'm going to take this opportunity in this video blog just to talk to you about how the club runs, what to expect, and any important bits of information that I need to pass on to you. So first of all, this is where I would recommend you come each month at the beginning of every instalment to come and listen to the latest news that I can talk to you about in my video blog. Following each introduction from me, there will be a written blog every month, and it's really important that you do read the written blog before you start knitting your squares. There's lots of important information in the written blog. I'll talk a little bit in my video blog, but there's lots more in that written blog that I would highly recommend you read. So take 10-15 minutes just to sit back after you've watched this vlog and just read through all those very important notes. First of all, I just want to talk about the parcels and the unfortunate cyber incident which happened in January to the Royal Mail. Now, I'm hoping, crossing fingers, that most of you, if not all of you, are sitting there now with your knitting kit ready to start. But I do apologise if that's not the case and you're still waiting for your kit to arrive. Very unfortunately, a few days before we sent out most of the overseas parcels, Royal Mail were struck by a cyber incident, which basically meant that we couldn't send any parcels overseas. Since that time, they have actually resolved the situation partially, enough for us to be able to get the overseas parcels posted, which we have done. So every single parcel has been posted. They are on their way to you. Royal Mail have said there will be possibly some delays in the system, but the parcels will reach you. So fingers crossed, if you haven't got your parcel, it will be with you very soon. Okay, so next I'm going to show you the knitting kit, and here it is. This is what you would have received in your first instalment. And basically in this kit is about half of what the total kit will include. So you've got yarn in there, you've got beads in there, a colour coder, and also a welcome letter. Now, what I would suggest you do is that before you do anything, once you open your pack up, I would suggest that you check the contents against the contents list that is inside the pack, just to make sure that everything is in there that should be. Now, we have two postal teams that pack the parcels, then ship them, and they work extremely hard and are very efficient and very good, but occasionally something might get missed. So if you can just do that first of all, that would be fabulous. And if anything is missing from your kit, please contact Sue at sue@debbieabrahams.com, and she will very swiftly send you whatever else you need for your kit. So the second part of your kit will reach you around the beginning of May. We're not quite sure what the state of things will be with Royal Mail by then, but we will make sure that the overseas parcels are sent well in advance. If there are any delays, hopefully that second parcel will be with you for the beginning of May. In that second parcel, there will be more yarn, more beads. Just a note about the beads, because you might be looking at what's in your parcel one and thinking, oh, that's strange, there's not that many beads in each little packet. There's lots of colours, but not many of each. That's because our huge bead delivery, which we get delivered from Hong Kong every year, is not coming in until later this month. So we've only sent you a very small amount of all the colours that you need for the first 3 months. And in the second parcel, you will receive more of the beads that you have in parcel 1. And you'll also receive 2 new colours of beads, 2 new colours of yarn, and lots more yarn to complete the kit. So there's lots to look forward to in parcel 2. If you check your inbox, there should be an email from us with the link to the February patterns. You can also download each month's patterns from your account on our website. And those of you that have ordered printed patterns, those have been posted both to the UK and overseas members. If you haven't received your printed patterns, they are on their way to you and will be with you very soon. It's a good idea to familiarise yourself with the mail out before you start knitting, and every mail out will be laid out in the same way. So this is the February mail out, and we have on the front cover a little preview of the squares that you're going to be knitting in that month. Page 2 is always the introduction to the month. So on page 2, you will see that there's a list of the squares on the left-hand side. In the middle of the page, there is a list of the yarns and the beads in your kit, with a few notes in the right-hand column. Page 3 is a really important page that I really recommend that you have a good read of, because it's got lots of very important information on this page, including information about option 1 and option 2. Now, I'm going to talk more about that in the written blog, so I'm not going to elaborate any more on that at the moment. All I would say is read the written blog, and it will explain in greater detail about option 1 and option 2. There is also information there about your tension. Very, very important that you test your tension and get it as close as possible, if not spot on, to the tension of which is specified there, which is 24 stitches and 34 rows to 10 centimetres. I would recommend, if you haven't already done your tension swatch, to perhaps use leaf yarn. You should have plenty of all the others, but I know that leaf is one that you will definitely have plenty of to be able to do your tension swatch. There's also a note about blocking and pressing. Very, very important too that you do that. It just finishes the fabric, makes it look so much better than when it first comes off the needles, neatens it all up, makes it look superbly professional, so very important. And there's also a note about working in vertical strips. That's all on page 3, but in the written blog I'm going to elaborate on all those things and talk a little bit more in detail about them. So following on after that general information page is page 4, where you will find each month your piecing diagrams, and there's one for option 1 and one for option 2. And this year, different to previous years, we've actually added in the numbers of the squares onto the top of each of the graphics, each of the images. We thought that would be a little bit more helpful when you're referencing those grids. Following then on from that, you will have your pattern pages. So this month you are knitting square 8 pixies and nixies, option 1, square 8 pixies and nixies, option 2, square 15 chestnuts, and square 16 forager. In the written blog you will find lots of helpful advice and tips about these squares, so make sure you give that a read before you start knitting, and just to see if there's anything to watch out for, anything that I've pointed out to help you to knit those squares more efficiently and more successfully. Another job you can do before you begin is to set up your colour coder. simply just tie a little bit of yarn through each of the holes. These need to be punched out. You can see they're perforated there, just need to be punched out. This will serve as a really handy reference for when you're knitting. And some of the colours in the pack are quite similar to each other. You've got maple and you've got barn red and you've got chestnut, all sort of shades of brown, which are quite close in shade, and in darker light could be mixed up quite easily. So set up your colour coder. That's one of the first jobs to do before you start knitting. Each month in the blog, there will be a series of technical videos to help you knit your squares. So there's lots and lots of support there to help you with various different techniques. Now, as the months go on, you will find that I suggest that you refer back to previous blogs. So if a technique is being repeated, for example, you're knitting Fair for option 1 in mail out 1, and then it will come up again in later blogs, in which case I will recommend in the blog which previous blog you need to go back to access that video. So these tech vids will be there for the duration of the whole project. They will be in the blog. You can refer back to any of the ones from previous blogs. And some of the months there will be additional new videos as well added in. So that's just a little bit of support there for everybody, and should really answer most of the questions you have about some of the techniques, particularly if they're new to you. But remember that you can always contact me at debbie@debbieabrahams.com if you have any specific questions. Just get in touch, and I answer every email, so do get in touch if you've got any queries at all. Now, of course, this is a mystery project, so the whole fun of a mystery project is that you don't quite know what you're knitting. Each instalment will give you clues about what you're knitting and about the theme. But as a bit of fun each month, we ask that if you have any thoughts about what the title might be, then send them in to us, because we will, with your permission, publish your name if you guess it correctly. So look at the titles of the squares, look at the colours, look at some of the motifs that you're knitting. I'm sure that some of you will guess it. Some might even guess it in the first month. But if you don't guess it in the first month, keep your guesses coming in. It's really always so lovely to hear from you and to hear your thoughts. And at the very end of the project, in month number 10, if you're still guessing, we will reveal the answer to you in that final blog. So there's just a few more things I want to talk to you about before you go off, grab your knitting needles and get going on this month's squares. If you have any concerns, queries, questions about the project, the first point of contact is sue@debbieabrahams.com. Now, Sue will take a look at your query. If she can answer it, she will reply to you. If it's something that I need to answer, then she'll forward it on to me and I will answer your query. So we're always here to help you out. If there's anything that you have a concern or a query about, just send it in to us by email and we will answer it as quickly and efficiently as we can. There's a very important date that you need to mark on your calendar, and it's the 1st of March for the launch of the 2023 Mystery Cushion Club. Many of you that have signed up to the blanket may well fancy another mystery challenge this year, and the cushion is a shorter project over 5 months, a completely different theme to the blanket, different yarns, different colours, different theme. This is last year's project. This is pure nouveau that many of you actually knitted alongside your mystery blanket. So if you fancy that challenge, mark the date on your calendar. We have 250 memberships available. It's a smaller club than the blanket. As I said, only 5 months long. But if you fancy it, do get yourself signed up. And as a 2023 Mystery Blanket Club member, you get 10% off your membership. So that's a great reason for you to join up, and I hope that you do, to join me on another mystery adventure this year. I want to finish by saying a huge thank you to everybody that has sent in donations for our Ukrainian winter warmers appeal. We have had an absolutely overwhelming and very heartwarming response to our appeal, and as all of you will know, this awful conflict, which is still continuing through these sort of bitter winter months, the people in Ukraine really still need all our support, as much support as we can give them. So the donations have been sent into Sue. I will put the address for that in the written blog. If you have anything that you can send in, we're collecting yarn and ready-made accessories or garments that are then being forwarded on to the people in Ukraine. And we went actually to visit the group in Peterborough a few weeks ago, and I'm going to write a blog post about that very soon to update you on what happened there. But we've just been so overwhelmed by everybody's generosity and kindness. It's been absolutely unbelievable, and we've had donations from all over the world. So thank you so much for supporting our appeal. And it's something that's going to be ongoing until for as long as the help is needed out there. So do send anything in that you have, and a big thank you in advance for anything that you can donate. So it's time now to grab those knitting needles, ping open your kit, and make a start on your first set of mystery blanket squares, those 3 squares to knit this month, before the second instalment arrives, which will be Friday the 10th of March. Usually launch date of each month is on the 1st, but because we've had this slight delay, I think you've got a 3-week, I've given you 3 weeks for your next set of squares, which will be 4 squares to knit. And then from April onwards, you will receive your instalments on the 1st of the month. So I wish you very happy knitting this month. I really hope that you enjoy the squares and have a wonderful time knitting them up. Do remember that I'm here if you need me, debbie@debbieabrahams.com. Do get in touch. Any images that you can send us, any stories about your mystery knitting, they make great articles for the blog, so do keep in touch. Keep those needles clicking away, and I'll see you back here on the 10th of March. Goodbye, everybody.